President Tinubu received security briefing from Army Chief.
I just came to brief him on the outcome of my visit to the Northeast region and look at the other security situation across the country.
Vice President Shettima unveils Nigeria's digital plans for growth.
The success of our cashless reform has positioned Nigeria as one of the most dynamic fintech ecosystems in the world.
Senate proposes tax on sugary drinks for health funding.
What we should have done is to come with a motion, to draw the attention of the executive arm of government to make these adjustments.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss ban on food ripening chemicals.
Have you ever bought a bunch of bananas or a basket of tomatoes that looked perfectly ripe, only to find they spoil within a day? Well, you're not alone, Victor.
Yes, and behind that quick ripening could be more than just sunshine and time. It might be chemicals, from calcium carbide to paracetamol and even sniper. Some vendors use toxic substances to make fruits and vegetables look fresh and appealing.
It is a practice that has become worryingly common across the country. A shortcut that puts profits before public health. The House of Representatives recently raised the alarm over the report of harmful preservatives used in frozen foods and other edible products.
And at its 47th meeting, the National Council on Agriculture also recommended a ban on chemical-based fruits ripening, a step that shows growing concern about what ends up on our tables.
So for most consumers, there is a simple expectation that the food they eat is safe. But with reports like this, the trust is being tested.
So today we turn the spotlight on food safety, the hidden dangers of chemically ripened and preserved food, the health implications, and what must be done to keep Nigerians safe.
Yes, to keep Nigeria safe, it's our business. I'm Ademola Adeoye. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria, and thank you for joining us.
And I am Victor Azu. We are reaching you live on the network service of the NTAs. All right, thank you very much. Of course, we are discussing today the ripening of fruits and food with dangerous chemicals. But just before we go into that conversation, let's take this background report, which is put together by Joseph Otsen.
Worried that these chemicals are often used to extend the shelf life of food products, which can be harmful for consumption, cancerous, and damage organs.
October this year, the House of Representatives raised serious concern over use of harmful chemicals to process or preserve food. And a few days ago, the Senate expressed similar worry and proposed to amend laws to prescribe stiffer punishment for persons found guilty of ripening fruits through the application of harmful chemicals in the country. This is following rampant reports across the country over use of substances like formalin, sodium, sniper, and hypo, among several other chemicals, to process or preserve food items by traders and importers. For instance, the preservation of grains with sniper, washing of fruits and vegetables with detergents to enhance appearance, use of calcium to artificially ripen fruits, and adding banned Sudan dye in palm oil. These are just few among many other such practices with high health risks on consumers of affected products. Experts attribute some public health threats such as cancer, kidney, and liver diseases, and foodborne illnesses including cholera and Lassa fever to such dangerous and fraudulent practices. In 2025 alone, Nigeria is said to have recorded over 14,000 cases of cholera, resulting in about 378 deaths and 119 deaths from food-related Lassa fever infections. The World Health Organization reports that Nigeria suffers over 1 million cases of foodborne illnesses annually, resulting in economic losses exceeding $3.6 billion United States dollars. It has become a practice the nation can no longer tolerate. The National Assembly is now taking a lead and has tasked all relevant authorities to intensify monitoring, enforcement, and sensitization to nip it in the bud. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria today will dwell on this national health concern.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for that background report there. And to discuss the issue on ban on food ripening chemicals, let me first introduce Professor Akim Abolade Oyeride. He's the Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Abuja. Prof, it's a pleasure to have you join us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Good morning. I hope we'll have a very good discussion on this.
We shall.
Because it's an emerging trend to the nation.
Yeah, it is. It is. Thank you so much for coming. Also joining us here in the studio is Professor Mohammed Yahaya Kuta. He's Professor of Agricultural Extension and Development Communication at the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Ibadan. A long-time advocate for safe agrochemical use in agriculture and livestock management, and he is serving as Secretary to the Presidential Livestock Reforms Implementation Committee. Professor Kuta, it's good to have you join us for this discussion this morning.
Thank you, Demala. Good morning. Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay.
All right, and joining us via Zoom, let me introduce Shehu Garkiado, who is a research professor in genetics and plant breeding at Ahmadu Bello University. He is a former executive director, Institute for Agricultural Research, Samaru, and former vice chancellor, Al Kalam University, Katsina. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us.
Okay, I think
he will come around.
All right. So let's kickstart our discussion now with Professor Kuta. You are the Secretary to the Presidential Livestock Reform Implementation Committee, and also you are a long-time advocate for chemical use chemical use in agriculture and livestock management. Tell us some of these chemicals that are being used, to ripen, the foodstuff, and the health challenges involved in this.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I know that the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture in Ibadan around 2020-2021 constituted a team that were called Coalition Against the Use of Paraquat, that is a dangerous chemical that was used in Nigeria for herbicides and agronomic control. But this chemical was already banned in the home country of China. Mm-hmm. And the importation to Nigeria constituted about 63%. Yet Nigerians were using them, they were importing them illegally, and poisoning citizens with attendant health implications. You can see people suffering from kidney impairment, even those who use it to spray it on the farm. It will spread to other good farms, like maize farms, where there is no need for its application, and then it will contaminate the crops. That is even at that level. So we have been in this advocacy for a very long time. Then, unfortunately, the high level of ignorance, greed, and farmers' inability to understand the risks of using some of these chemicals to ripen food or products like banana, plantain, oranges, and many of them like that, without knowing that even handling some of those chemicals have implications on their health.
Just handling them.
Handling them. somebody who sprayed some of those chemicals confessed that after using it, he had to suffer from some respiratory diseases. Because those are very dangerous chemicals in the countries of origin. To handle them, you need gears and everything to use them for safety. But we don't have the gears, we don't have the safety valves, and then they continue to apply them at the detriment of the consumers. The consumers will see a ripe food, consume, but already the chemicals will now affect the content that after ingestion will now cause a lot of damages to the internal organs. Particularly, many people come down with kidney diseases. Many people come down with other ailments that impair organ functions without knowing the root cause. These are purely a product of the food product that they have consumed without knowing. And basically, this is where extension education has become paramount ingredient of Nigerian agricultural system. Because if the farmers are educated about some of these things, they will avoid it because they know it is going to be dangerous for their health. Unfortunately, NAFDAC, that is supposed to be the agency of government to monitor, sanction many people involved in the sale, distribution of some of these dangerous chemicals, is already overwhelmed in dealing with people on matters of fake drugs and other issues. So I think this is the time for Nigeria to even have another NAFDAC for agriculture-related, control, so that it won't be just dealing with drugs, because NAFDAC is dealing with drugs.
Be duplicates of all?
No, because NAFDAC is incapacitated. For example, the paraquat I told you has been banned in China after government policy that NAFDAC said they shouldn't import again. A consignment came into Nigeria after the ban. And do you know the reason? That those who took LC to import those chemicals gave excuse that they have already placed order before, so they must sell it at what cost. This is where, in law enforcement, I'm very happy listening to that background. National Assembly coming up with laws that can, mitigate some of these things. But it's not even the law that is the problem. It's implementation. Who are those to police implementation of these policies? This is where patriotism and professionalism have to come in. Because, for example, when there was argument about NAFDAC already banning the importation of this paraquat, because we took the campaign to WTO, we engaged with Okonjo-Iweala, who happens to even be in Nigeria, and she condemned the attitude of dumping all poisonous chemicals on Nigeria. And Nigeria should not accept it. However, who are those complicit? Those in business of these chemicals are the culprits. They will go ahead, import, and find a way even to smuggle it into the country. And before you know it, you find it on the shelves. So the best thing would have been, clear them, whoever is involved should be sanctioned appropriately, apply the laws of the land on the importer, on the distributors, and then, if possible, find a way to harvest all of them, bury them in a way that it will not affect citizens anymore. Because the same thing goes with animals. When certain drugs create residual effect on animals and human beings consume them, this is where you talk about antibiotics resistance and so on and so forth. These are issues where organic, I'm sure Professor is going to talk about agronomic issues that have emerged where organic agriculture has taken front line. Globally, people are now gravitating towards consumption of products that are purely of organic origin. They may be more expensive and they are more assuring for the health of the people, because this is where carcinogenic substances that are contained in some of those chemicals will end up affecting human health. Now, when we visited Brazil with Mr. President as a committee on G20, we visited some farms producing chicken, organic chicken. No single chemical is applied except feeding from beginning to the end. Anyone that is having a health challenge is called out of the stock and either taken to where it will be treated, but not part of this organic product. And that is why the issue of halal and all healthy, wholesome products, including livestock, have come to take the front stage. So in this wise, two things are involved. Nigeria is in their need of proper extension system in agriculture that will be from the entire value chain of agriculture, not only at the production to increase production for farmers, but even in handling, in processing, in transportation, in preservation, and even the consumer education. So the consumer should know what they are consuming. And then this is the time for us to have aggregation centers where certain products will be tested for the wholesomeness for human consumption.
Okay.
Certain of these products cannot even be given to animals. If you give them to animals, you will see the effect on the animal immediately.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. Now, let me get to Professor Yeride. I'm wondering, the use of these chemicals, like calcium carbide, for instance, how do they alter the nutritional or chemical composition of food?
I would like to start with the concept of, 2 days ago, I was in this farm, FATEC, and this issue came up. I was one of the panelists, and this issue came up as regards the issue of food safety. Because what we keep on clamoring for is food security. But now the danger is the safety of what we are consuming. So one of the participants asked a question on that. Now, food safety, how are we getting all this banned commodity as agrochemical that are coming to Nigeria? And I remember in 2023, I was part of people that trained people for pest control unit in Ministry of Agric on safe use of agrochemical. And I remember the major thing we have is like when you alter the issue of a duplication of a function. I'm part of the pesticide council as well. You know, Nigeria as a nation have a pesticide council, which Entomological Society of Nigeria, which I happen to be a fellow of that society, is part of the council. The issue at stake is those chemicals that we are talking about. The issue of paraquat and a host of others are just trade names. You are talking of the active ingredients. Why we got ourselves to this extent is that the farmers are not informed. They are not informed. In that training, when we ask them, how are you doing your application? How do you know the chemical to use? How do you select it? Who give you the information? They said, no, we just go to the shop and we ask them. And they said, put 1 gongoni, put 3 gongoni. Because it's not working, we are not doubling the gongoni. So the fact remains that, as a nation, I would like to talk a little about what Prof talked about NAFDAC. People that are handling agrochemicals in Nigeria, we have SON, we have NAFDAC, we have pest control in the Ministry of Agric, we have another unit in the Ministry of Agric that procure this agrochemical. So, like the answer I gave to them in that program is that the problem we have in the country, I've been involved in so many talk on the use of agrochemical because it's not only pesticide. Pesticide is the one we are talking about. You start from fertilizer. Fertilizer is still part of agrochemical. So the issue, the reason why we are having this problem is the farmers does not have people to assist them. And they have produced. And they want to increase the shelf life of that commodity so as not to sell at the farm gate and sell at a loss. That's the problem we have. In most of the nation, they have subject-specific extension. That's what they do now. It's not only crop that we have the problem of this pesticide. We have people that are producing clarias, that's a fish. And for them to increase the shelf life, they put foam, put sniper there and rub it on it. So when you get there and you see it's clean, if you are consuming poison. So the issue is we should see it as a call to action by the nation. Whether it's livestock, even people that are doing slaughtering of cattle, slaughtering of animal, butchers, preserve it if they cannot finish selling. But as a nation, I'm a little bit close to some of our agency, income and host of others. They've produced, even universities, they've produced cottage prototype of equipment that we can use to increase shelf life of this commodity. Because when you add chemical to whatsoever you are consuming, you are increasing, because the farmer will not be able to wait for the expiring period of that chemical. If you add chemical to in terms of post-harvest handling, if you add chemical, you need the shelf, you need the period, waiting time. A farmer that is poor, that has put phosphorus and a host of other in his commodity, the family is there's hunger, want to send children to school, need money urgently. We not wait for that period, we'll take it to the market. So I used to advise people that even if you want to buy beans in the market, if you don't see insect there, don't buy it.
If you don't see insects,
yes, don't buy it.
That is
if you go to where people are doing oranges and a host of others, you see them rubbing this on fruits, on tomato. Because what a trader, a marketer want to do is to ensure that what is given to you is attractive. And you know, people are not informed. People will now go for the one that doesn't have small spot or small rot. Because there is another aspect of food safety that aflatoxin and a host of other that is pathogenic in nature. But the major thing is you must be conscious of what we call it farm to fork. Farm to fork in the sense that whatsoever you produce on the farm will end on the table. So if you know it will end on the table, you must be conscious of what do you do. The issue of adding carbide is that they want to hasten the period of ripening.
But how does it alter, the chemical, nutritional composition of the food itself?
It does that because, we have minimum residue level. That's why some of the products that were exported in Nigeria were rejected. The reason is that it exceeded minimum residue level that would not be harmful to human being. All commodities have that. So the issue is immediately you put carbide, it changed the system of that, whether banana, whether mango, or whatever you want to use it to ripe. So immediately it gets that it will change the nutritive content. And you will consume that residue of that agrochemical. And when it gets into the system, the first point of call is the liver. The liver, that's why we have liver problem, that's why we have kidney problem, and the host of others coming in now. As soon as you consume it, it goes into that system, and we start killing those organs gradually. And because majority, I remember when we have the problem of, what do we call it, in Kaduna, the problem of ginger in Kaduna. At the House of Assembly, you know what they call is that they said, no, let's go and call this Ministry of Health that is dealing with the issue of pandemic and a host of others. So when they get there, they said, no, this is a crop-based, a plant-based problem. You have plant protectionists. At the end, they form a committee using people from ABU and a host of others that are experts within pathology and entomology. So the issue at stake is Nigeria is blessed with human resources. We have adequate human resources that can solve our problem. But the issue of plant protection is always neglected when people want to plan agricultural practice. The next thing they will do is whether animal health or plant protection, they will say, no, let's just produce. Let's ramp our production. You can't ramp your production without thinking of how you protect your products. So the fact remains that we need to increase, have synergy among all our agencies that are involved.
Okay.
we must have synergy among them. Because I remember whenever you get there, I'm the competent authority. No, you are not the competent authority. They will fight on that one for long. No, it's not about competent authority. It's about the interest of the nation. How do you assist the nation? How do you save our populace? This is what is causing most of the problem that has been treated at the face of earth.
The health challenges.
The health challenges. This is what caused it. So the best we can do is that to eat safe and produce. And the problem with the issue of consumption starts from production. That was why Prof is talking about organic farming. Organic farming product is the most expensive. You still have Alan certification. You have all those certifications. I remember I served for over 6 years as the technical chairman of SON Agriculture Committee, National Committee, for 6 years. And I asked them that your laboratory, how many ISO certification do you have? And they said they have ISO certification for only moisture content. I said, what? Not even the physical, not even the nutrient elements. Because before you can be able to export your commodity, or before you can be able to have a safe commodity, you must have a national reference lab. I remember that question came out 2 days ago too. And the Alfred Bank now said, we have created a reference lab in that's Shagamu in Ogun State. That we have created that, we are now using that. We now said, no, this is a call to the nation to have a national reference lab. Small countries like Rwanda, Ghana, this is why they are having access, because ISO have certified those commodities for safety. There will be ALA certification, there will be EcoCert certification. That's for organic. If you're able to get to that, people that are consuming our product will be safe. It's not the foreign, it's not the EU market or foreign market that should be telling us that we are poisoning Nigerians. Because when yam was exported, it was rejected. When beans was exported, it was rejected. Because they are now telling us that what we are eating at home is poison. So the fact remains that we need to assist the smallholder farmer, because whether we like it or not, they are the one producing most of what we eat. Okay. And at that event, I told them, I said, look, we are in this event now. Where are the farmers? The farmers are the ones that undo what we eat. They're supposed to be part of this conversation so that they take it home. With that, you address more people. But you are only addressing the elites. I raised that. So the fact remains that we should think of how do we step up the knowledge. The subsistence farmers are waiting for us to assist them. That's where we have the problem of our extension. The extension collapsed. The ratio of extensionists to farmer, and if we have ask Prof now, is more than 1 to 10,000.
Yeah, and the
it's terrible. Okay. So the best we can do is let's help our farmer. The farmers are waiting for us. In 2013, we did a survey in FCT, and we were able to get 38 plants that the FCT community are using to protect their crop. Okay. They are plant source. So after we finished that, we said, oh, this is what we should develop, and now develop it into dosage and get the active ingredients and use these so that the farmer will continue to use this instead of using and adopting dangerous agrochemical.
Okay. All right. Okay, Prof. Thank you so much. What you have said is that we need to step up knowledge on the application of these chemicals. Not that all these chemicals are bad.
No, yes. Yeah. The major thing is for you to know use and disuse.
Yes, and the application of it. Most of them, those who are using it right now, are using it wrongly and they don't have the waiting time. I don't know if our Zoom guest is still there. Okay, let me come back to you, Professor Kuta. I mean, just like what he has raised now, that there is no adequate knowledge on the path of the users of these chemicals, and because of this, that is why we are having all these challenges, health problems, and all that. Are there any alternative, to these chemicals, chemical-based food preservation methods? Are there any alternative?
historically, the indigenous practices of our farmers is legendary. As Prof said, they have their own indigenous mechanisms of handling some of these issues before the introduction of these dangerous chemicals, and they were doing well. But suddenly, we abandoned our indigenous knowledge system, what we call popularly in extension call IKS, is abandoned. And that is why today you find it difficult. Farmers on their own will even venture to apply the chemicals they don't know because they don't have guidance. And the opportunity this offers Nigeria is that extension will need to be situated properly in the Nigerian agricultural system. As Prof said, the bulk of food produced and consumed in Nigeria is in the hands of smallholder farmers, and they constitute about 80%. The large-scale farmers that produce massively cannot be compared to these smallholders, and these smallholders are the ones that are involved in the production and immediately taken to the market, and then the populace are having the first contact for consumption. So we need to situate extension properly so that both at the training in our tertiary institutions, where we produce the people that will go and interface with these farmers later with the proper knowledge of some of these issues at extension training. In addition, the moribund nature of extension that has succeeded in Nigeria is the training and visit system that was introduced under the ADP structure financed by the World Bank in the 80s to early 90s. But immediately the World Bank funding was withdrawn, extension and ADP system collapsed. This is the time that we can look inward as we are developing so many programs. Let Nigeria make it a policy to activate the national extension policy. Let the National Assembly pass a legislation on that policy so that both federal, state, and local governments will now operate with a framework that farmers in Nigeria will begin to benefit from a knowledge-based agricultural practices, not accidental application of what they don't even know the details. Not many farmers are literate enough to even read the procedure, and they don't have anybody to guide them. So we need this window to create a new paradigm in terms of extension structure in Nigeria. What we have in NRLS Zaria, that's Nigerian Agricultural Extension Research and Liaison Services, is purely academic, but the practical component are in the ADP systems. And ADP started as enclaves in Gombe, Bida, and Gusau, and so on. And then later spread to the 36 states of the Federation. There is no state in Nigeria today, including FCC, that does not have ADP. But are they functional? They are moribund. Some of them, extension workers are supposed to see the farmers. The ratio of extension prescribed by FAO is in the neighborhood of 400 to 1 extension agent to 400 farmers to 800.
Do we still have the extension?
But where I'm coming, now we have them, some of them that were trained by the World Bank in the 80s, most of them have retired.
So there is no replacement.
So no replacement. In many states, I find, in fact, they are not even priorities of states because of ignorance. But my advocacy has always been that the way we did empower and be giving money to people free.
Are you doing anything to actually encourage the youths now to go into these, extension services and all that? Because just like you said, that the ones that have been trained have been phased out as a result of age. And the youths, we need to encourage them because agriculture is the mainstay of the economy now these days. So a lot needs to be done. How do you bring
it's not only extension that is endangered.
Yeah.
Agriculture as a profession is endangered in terms of training.
Oh, okay.
At the University of Ibadan, we did a survey. Out of the students that were in the faculty of agriculture at that time and veterinary medicine, 43% of them did not apply to read agriculture. They were rather conscripted to read agriculture. Majority applied to read medicine, pharmacy, and other courses, but because of limitations of number, they were forced to read agriculture. So if you see any student in agriculture faculty today, majority of them are just there physically, but their minds are not there. And when I gave the last 45th university lecture at the University of Ibadan, I challenged the entire ecosystem of agricultural training. That how can you attract young people to go into agriculture when you are training them to use hoes and cutlasses? In their practical year, they are all being trained using hoes and cutlasses. Ask any student, can you drive a tractor? They don't even know how a tractor looks like. Meanwhile, we are awarding contracts. State Fund is giving grants. Construction of mighty multi-billion edifices and houses and hostels and training facilities in the university, but no tractor for faculties of agriculture. And we are all complicit, including Prof and myself. When NUC hire us to go for accreditation of courses in the universities, because we don't want to kill a Greek. If they say, how many tractors do you have? Say there is one. There was a day I went to a university for accreditation. It was on the day we were leaving that the tractor that they bought arrived at the university in anticipation of accreditation. So how can you attract young people, the Gen Z generation, to go and carry horse and cutlasses when they can operate a system and make millions, and their counterparts in other climes are making billions out of IT? But the good news is, in every difficulty, I like to quote Mr. President. When he inaugurated the Presidential Livestock Reform Committee, he said, people see challenges, but I see opportunities. In every challenge, there is an opportunity. This window of opportunity lies in the current wave of precision agriculture. Agriculture is, according to Mr. President, he said you should make it sexy. Make it attractive. So that everybody will gravitate towards it. When you go into precision agriculture and greenhouse technologies, you are going to beat all the odds that you require to use chemicals in an enclosure. You can monitor and operate using handsets to know the water content. Soilless agriculture has come to play. Right. And all these things are the new innovations that can attract young people. And at the University of Ibadan, our entrepreneurship program is yielding results, because young people now are becoming agripreneurs. They are into aqua products production, processing, and marketing, and all kinds of creative things that they can live and survive even as students and even become employers instead of job seekers. Right. So if we make agriculture sexy, attractive, young people will come into it.
Because we have the huge population
of young people. And that is where the risk is.
I quite like the idea of sexy agriculture. Perhaps I'll be attracted too.
Yes,
I'll be under Prof's tutelage. But talking about, the policy of the ban on harmful substances, harmful chemicals for agricultural use. The problem we always have is implementation. You have alluded to that earlier, Professor Yerinde. How easy is it that, food safety can be monitored across Nigeria's fragmented chain? You are talking about from farm, to the next point and to the next and onwards.
Okay. When we have this kind of national opportunity or global opportunity, I always love talking about professionalism of agriculture. I will still go back to your question. The reason why the young ones are not interested in coming to agriculture is because this issue of our Council or Institute of Agriculture that has been in the Senate over time. There was a time that former late President Muhammad Buhari was about signing. Because if you want the younger ones to come in, it must be attractive.
Yeah.
The training must be something juicy. When the president talked about sexy agriculture, I said, one of our alumnus was the one that first promoted the issue of sexy agriculture. Since he graduated, he has never worked under anybody. He's the DG of Youth Employ. He called me last week that he wants to celebrate 10 years anniversary of that. So the kind of training we are doing now, I've been teaching agripreneurship for over 15 years. What we do now is to make sure that they be job creator, not looking for job. So on the issue, I remember at the floor of one AGM of Deans of Agric, ADAN, Association of Deans of Agriculture. This was discussed, that the issue of point of entry, the issue of where do we place our graduates. That is why the children don't want to come. I remember when I joined University of Abuja, even with my master's, I was giving assistant lecturer. But we were able to reform and get what they've been using in ABU as far back as 1981. That with your first degree in Agric, it's a professional course. You are an assistant lecturer. MSc, you are lecturer 2. PhD, you are lecturer 1. And that's what we are using. So ADAN, as a group now, we are now working on how do we integrate that. Whatever you want the young ones to do, you must make it attractive to them. But that's not what our discussion here is for. But the issue of policy, the problem we always have in our policy implementation is monitoring and evaluation. It's like you have a dog. Your dog can bark very well, but it cannot bite. So the concept is, if you have a policy on ban agrochemical, who are the watchdogs? Who are the ones to manage and monitor what is happening? You can imagine when Prof said, we have flocks of banned products coming to the nation. Through where? We have quarantine, we have custom, we have so many agencies that are in charge of this. But when you still talk about it, you see that you have a policy. Nigeria has the best set of policies. But the major thing, policy will not work. Policy is just in a paper. It will not work until when you have a scheme to implement it, to monitor it, and to manage it. And that's why we are so fortunate having scholars in Nigeria. If you go online, you are looking for anything, any area of study, Nigerians are leading. I think the only set of people that are leading, that are a little bit higher than us in terms of publication, is India. So it means we have the resources, we have the expertise. What we just need is to tap in on that. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, renewed hope agenda, is transforming most of these things. When Prof is talking about not having tractor, we have tractors in Cheddar, still standing there after commissioning. So I'm shocked that what are these implements still doing here? When you can share them to all the University of Agriculture in Nigeria.
Not all the faculties of agriculture.
You understand? When you share it to the university give it to the Faculty of Agriculture. The equipment, I stay in the big Cheddar. So I pass through those axes every day. Whenever I see it, my heart blinks. Now what's wrong with us? This is a waste. The government has invested so much in getting those agro implements. What are they meant for? The citizen is gone. So the fact remains that I remember I was able to attract some new development into my faculty. NAFDAC is doing greenhouses almost about 20 for us now. Naseni is doing agro training center. They have all the feed, livestock, fishery, and crop production. When we gave them the land, they said they needed expansion. So I said, don't worry, let's complete this. And they are targeting that the number one in the nation, which is the president, will come and commission them. The students, when they got to that place, they said, this is what we should be using to train them.
Exactly.
Hydroponic is there.
Yeah.
So I said that in one of the programs that in the next 10 years, the way we are going, nobody will look for any white-collar job again. Because I have graduates now that are already exporting fish out of Nigeria. And such a child, you can't give him even 1 million as a salary, he will not stay. So the fact remains that when we have policy, we should have implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of what is the success.
And how do you suggest that we go about this in this case?
So the first thing that we love to talk about is that we have a interministerial committee in most of these things that we're having. For example, now, you have NAFDAC in Ministry of Health, you have Ministry of Agriculture having their pest control, you have Nestra in environment. So it means that this problem is multifaceted. Nestra will tell you that they are controlling the use of pesticide in the environment. I teach a course on global, we call it conventional issues in crop protection. And being in COP22 in Marrakesh, I was invited by the United Nations to come and present my paper on the global warming issue as regards cowpea and honey production. What is the reason? The reason is most of these things, apart from having impact on human, on us, it has impact on our environment.
Okay.
And the one on the environment, as you are using the agrochemical, everybody is spraying now. If they want to control weed, they will just go and spray herbicide. When you spray the herbicide, the runoff takes it to the waterway. It percolates down. You'll be drinking it in your bowl, in your well. It goes into the waterway, destroy the what we call the blue economy. The blue economy is the one that talks about ocean, rivers, and the host of other. So, if we don't curtail this as soon as possible, the danger that is ahead is small. So the best we can do is that let's have an interministerial setup committee to implement on this. The interministerial committee will now develop an output, a roadmap on how do we handle these challenges. Sister agencies within the ministries that have something to do with this, trade and investment is involved too. God, the FACAN is under them. They are promoting all these sales. So when we now have them together, they become the think tank for the country. The First Lady is doing something on vegetable production. So it means anybody that grew up in Nigeria knows that we always have garden at the backyard. We don't even go. In a Yoruba land, a woman that goes to market to buy vegetables is a lazy woman. That's the culture. But we've drifted from that. What we are now doing is to go to mall, shops, to go and buy a vegetable. I told them in Israel, in Galilee Institute, that the only country that is safe, that is good, that you can claim that is God's own country is Nigeria. And they asked me why. I said, in Nigeria, we don't plant things. We throw it away, they grow, and we'll start harvesting. So that's blessing from God. So if we have a good network, and the major interest of all of us should be on the nation. How do we save this nation from where we are?
How do we save this nation from where we are? Thank you so much, Prof. We'll come back to you. Okay, Professor Kuta.
Let's remind our viewers that they can send in their message before Prof comes in. Okay. The phone line is displayed on your screen just so that you can text your messages whether it is contribution or questions, and the guests in the studio will respond. Just keep it short and simple. Let's know your name and where you're writing in from. Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to clear something before your question about the tractors. The Minister of Agriculture had issued a statement on those tractors recently, I think by Minister of State or something, that during the time the tractors arrived, it was almost at the mid of the cropping season. So they are targeting the dry season to be able to deploy, because if you deploy them now when they will not be useful, some of them you are going to have issues. So I think the logistics and all those things, it's being handled by the ministry, and even the planned farm estate development that will also accommodate them, they are also a promising concept. So I just want to assure Prof that since I was privy, I was at the launch, and I knew the minister had made a statement on that. So I think it's reassuring. But your anxiety about the benefit that you need, when they are doing the distribution, they should not forget universities. We are making a strong appeal that universities in Nigeria today are suffering because agriculture is not attractive to our students because of this tendency of going back on horse and cutlasses as our forefathers did. But if it is becoming attractive, you can use hand tillers and other small machines, technology. I remember mechanized farming, because I remember while we were in school, secondary school, if they punish you, they say you should go and use cutlass and cut grass. But to now, my gardener uses a motorized. Within 1 hour is done, and you pay him his money and he's gone. So I think these are the things that we can introduce to young people so that they will become attractive, they will become more curious, they will become more interested, and then the precision agriculture that has come on board will also facilitate that.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing clarification on that. Let's look at the economic impact of this ban now on ripening chemicals. Will it affect the food industry, particularly the small-scale farmers and vendors? Because, right now we're talking about the high increase in food, items in the market, although they're gradually coming down now. So, will the ban lead to increased cost for consumers? And if so, how can we make healthy food affordable, to the common people?
Well, it's simple but complex, because the transactional nature of our agricultural system has left a lot of dent, where the producers have to go and find means of production on their own. During the ADP system, it was well organized from the state level to zonal level to block level and to village level, so that everything moved in that systematic way. But now the farmer is left to himself to go and find a way out of his problems and challenges. This is where the problem is. However, value addition should be encouraged in our agricultural system, where technologies, even if it is not large scale, that can be deployed to process so that people can sell, and then more healthier and wholesome for the consumers, should be encouraged. Most of times you notice that mangoes at the peak of seasons get wasted, oranges the same thing, and it means there are cottage industries for processing some of these products for the consumers. It will reduce the wastages that are associated with it, and the anxiety to apply chemicals to hasten so that they can also make quick money. Because it's out of greed and anxiety to make quick money that they want to ripen and make the money immediately. But then, out of ignorance, he is not aware that handling those chemicals is not only dangerous to his own health too, but also dangerous to the ultimate consumer. So there is a high level of knowledge that should be inculcated at all levels, and then states and local government should begin to invest. Now that Mr. President has given local governments autonomy, they will get their funding direct. They will be able to use some of these fundings to address the peculiar nature of their environment, especially farmers. 75% of Nigerian population lives in the rural areas. And the preoccupation of this 75% is agriculture. Either, no matter how small they are, they put together the aggregate of the bulk of the food that is produced and is being consumed in Nigeria. So Nigeria should begin to think in a creative way that cottage industries will begin to address some of these shortcomings. And I will not run away from it. Even if you ask me 10 times, I will say you need properly trained extension professionals to handle their training and even the concept of agribusiness, because many of the farmers don't even keep records. And we are now graduating towards record keeping, towards data management, so that they will be able to calculate their gains and where they are losing. And the most important for us is the issue of guaranteed minimum price. Government have a role to play. Good. Because in every setting, government interventions cushion the effect of all negatives around the environment. I remember when I had the opportunity to serve in Niger State with in the government of Dr. Babangida Aliyu as Secretary to Government, we used to have what we call buffer stock. In this buffer stock, the products at the peak of harvest, we encourage to purchase all of them and put in the grain reserves or the specific reserves for keep. And when there is scarcity, or during the period of fasting or Ramadan, or festivals of Salah, Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Kabir, they bring out some of this and send it to the wards, not to the market. And that either at the Emir's Palace or the District Head's Palace, people will join queue to buy some quantity at government-controlled prices. That reduced inflation and made food more affordable to the citizens. So government played a role. Okay. Instead of just leaving it to market forces, and then at the end of the day, citizens suffer, and every day you have adulterated products, some wastages that are associated with them is because at the level of glut, or when there is massive product, farmers just want to sell and go away. And then the issue of bringing dry season farming is going to be the game changer. There is a irrigation dam.
The government is working on that right now.
Yes, it's working. That's what I'm saying, that even those tractors are being preserved for the farm estate. There is a dam in Wushishi in Niger State that I'm very familiar with. They call it Tunga Cow Irrigation Scheme. It's targeted about 10,000 hectares, but not more than 30% is being cultivated, capacity is being utilized now. In that community, rice grows 3 times in a year. After the rain fade one, by the time they are harvesting, they will just be back home. The tree will sprout on its own again. You don't need any additional planting. Then you come back and harvest feedy rice in 3 months. Then by the time the dry season is setting, they clear the land and apply irrigation to cultivate the dry season. So these people, if you go to that community, you will see that every young man is a car owner. And there is nothing like rural-urban migration. They are all living in that community. There was a day, NTA celebrated 100 marriages as a part of economic prosperity in the community. I remember that clip is there. I think Mary Nobaje was all covered the NTA to celebrate the community because there is economic prosperity.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. We'll go on a break now. And when we return, the conversation will continue. And some of the comments and questions will be read out. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And our discussion is still on ban of food ripening chemicals. And we still have our guest here who are discussing the issue. We have questions and comments from some of our viewers, which we'll read out now. I'll first read out some, and we'll have Professor Yorinde to respond to them. And later, my colleague here will read out his own questions as well. This one is from Margaret Polycarp from Port Harcourt. It says, good morning. Please, my question is, even when the food is washed and cooked, for instance, beans, rice, and so many others, before eating, will the chemical used on the food still affect the system? You know, a lot of people say, you parboil, you do this, you do that. So that's his question now. And this one is from Thomas Ubede from Benue State. It says, good morning, Nigerians. I'm glad this problem has come to light. I suggest the best way of step up the awareness is to take it to the primary and secondary schools. Use of local languages will be useful. The government should help extension staff to involve teachers to pass these messages to peasant farmers. But when not properly handled, will rather increase revenue for few persons handling it. This one says, good morning, profs. My name is Chimereze Anthony from Port Harcourt. Please, my question is, there is so much talk about the university, the ADPs, and their involvement in the development of agriculture in our dear country. Are there plans for those in the rural areas who don't have access to the universities and ADP programs to be educated? And lastly, this one says, the Ministry of Agriculture and the National Assembly should make laws to ban the importation of these chemicals, and they must monitor the implementation of the ban. The customs must make sure that those chemicals don't come into the country. Prof, you want to respond to some of these comments?
The first one is when you talk about safe use of agrochemical, is a very complex issue. If you wash, you know, it depends on which kind of chemical do they use. We have systemic one, we have fumigant, we have contact. So you have different kind of chemical that you can use. If you use a fumigant, the fumigant goes into the cell of that product. It goes in there.
What is a fumigant? What type of chemicals are those?
Fumigant means the one that works with the air, like phosphorus. If you use phosphorus to preserve your beans now, you put it, we always cover it so that it will not have contact with the products. Mm-hmm. So when you put that, when it goes into the system, how it kills the insect and other pathogen is that it mixes with the air. So when it mixes with the air, because our seed and our crop and our fruit, they are living organisms. That's what people don't know. That's why we usually dry to about 12% moisture content. Even at 12% moisture content, the seed is still living. It's not dead. So the fumigant will go in there. So whether you wash or you don't wash, until when the chemical expire, it's not healthy to consume it. It's not a case of a parboil, I've washed away the water, I've washed it. There's nothing you can do to that. That's why when the farmers, even after using the container, they cut it, and they'll be using it for ablution. They'll be using it to drink water. Remnant of that chemical is still there. So the issue is a bottom-top approach is the best. And that's why when Prof talk about extension, the closest to the farmer that can give them information that they will accept is agric extension, is the extensionist. So I don't know what is wrong with us that we are looking at extension as a white elephant project that cannot be achieved. All agriculturists were turning out thousands of graduates.
Yeah, no jobs.
Even up to millions. They don't have jobs.
Can
One time they said they gave them Empower. How will you give them Empower? You can give them job. There are vacancies. Yeah. Give them job. Graduates within the agri phase, the extensionists, crop productionists, crop protectionists, and a host of others. When you give them job, you now, Nigeria did this when they have farm settlements, 1982, 83, that they took the certificate of those people, put them, some of them, give them land, give them all the resources they needed. I know where I had my IT. The man is still in Adodo water. Doing well. He has over 3,000 palm oil, palm tree, oranges, and a host of other. He's doing fishery, he's on 10 hectares there. That was given to him in 1982, he and his wife. They are graduates of UI. So the issue is, you are claiming that people don't have jobs. The best we can do is, let's engage this young lad. The younger generation have access to the whole world on their phone. So if government empower them, give them job, they have sense of belonging, of serving. And with that, they will be the closest to, they are informed. Because if we are looking at how will the information get to our high 75% population in the rural area, the easiest way is for you to empower these little ones, increase the number of people that can do extension and have discussion with them, live in their locality, have discussion, so that we will start solving the problem from bottom.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Prof.
But
let me take the messages.
I don't think he has answered all the other questions. The one with the ADPs?
The ADP, the government, you know what we like doing most in Nigeria is to copy. We copy a lot. If a state adopts one ADP, I know the other state will adopt it. The ADP have become, just need to look for states to reform the ADP. That's the greatest option that we can do. Since World Bank left, every action, I did some work for ADP even in 2013 with Fadama 3 and a host of others. So the issue at stake is, we have people that are looking for job. Most of my friends in ADP, they are all retired. They are above 60. So let's have the young lads go in there, and with that, we'll have people that goes into the interior and disseminate information about good agricultural practices.
All right. Let's take some more messages now. And this one reads, good morning, sirs. He says his name is Malam Togun. He said, I quite agree with Professor Kuta. As a professional farmer, I got to realize that paraquat is so dangerous that it causes a lot of harms to our farmers. When it was banned, we were all called to get informed, including the chemical distributors. But unfortunately, that dangerous paraquat chemical finds its way to the market again. May God bless Nigeria, he says. And this one is from Ofulue Ibodo in Asaba. Food safety can only be managed if the literacy levels of farmers are monitored by the authorities concerned. Agricultural Extension Services, NAFDAC, Customs, and Health Ministry are duty-wise culpable in checkmating the excesses of the uninformed farmers. I had stopped buying fruits and I eat beans with utmost risk. This one is from Princess Stacy. I want to thank the profs, especially for the advice on the purchase of beans. I now know better that weevils in beans means healthy. I have been scared of buying beans, but now I know better. And finally, from Emmanuel Elue in Lagos, please, the government agencies tasked with protecting citizen consumers should act now so that lives will be protected from some of these dangerous chemicals used in preserving foods that we eat. So, Professor Kuta, you want to respond to any of these?
Well, it's just it's acknowledgement majorly, but as a rider to what Professor Hakim said earlier, is I will just give the government a wise counsel. Mr. President has done well in many fronts. We have witnessed the livestock revolution that is happening in a very massive, quick succession. I think Nigerians deserve agriculture, green revolution, in a way you want to call it. And Nigeria can take advantage of this army of young people. If you go to virtually every faculty of agriculture in Nigeria University today, they have churned out thousands of graduates. I'm telling you, 70% of them are not engaged. You can take a census of them. Call them to an agenda setting where you can they can become the champions of Nigerian agricultural revolution. And give them the necessary training, unleash them to the massive producers in Nigeria. They will be the game changer in our agricultural system. But instead of leaving them, graduating, doing nothing, is not healthy. And Prof is also aware that our curriculum is basically theoretical. In every aspect, there are not less than 10 areas of specialization in agriculture. That if Mr. A is talking about his specialization, if it's entomology, the man in agricultural economy is talking about farm management has to go to school there. And there are so many like that. So if we can design a national agenda that will unleash this young population into the agricultural space, rebrand the ADP system, fund it through special interventions, and then let the small-scale farmers be seeing these young people to put them through, there will be a massive change in the Nigerian agricultural space.
But would you say that the universities where you, incidentally, and Prof come from, have you done enough in developing natural ripeners, that farmers can fall back on? Have universities produced enough in that regard?
If you see the products, basically of the precision greenhouse technologies, they are all within that frame. Nothing is lost to that. And there are different species, product of research, that are yearning for mass multiplication, but there is no wherewithal. Most state funds...
Finance?
Yeah, finance. Replication. You come out with a good cultivar, but how do you achieve mass scale? Just recently, NCR Badegi just launched a success story of a new cultivar that can do 15 tons per hectare of rice. Just flagged off. We have the current, Faro 44 that is reigning for particularly this North Central geopolitical zone that is doing well, is a product of NCR Badegi. And if you go to what happened to Ife Brown, Ife Brown is the cowpea that's a product of Ife. Chika Brown is a product of Napri in Zaria. But after those years of research, research is no more funded. Research is no more funded. Napri cannot go beyond what they did in Ife with Chika Brown. Ife Brown, there are so many technologies that could have come out of it, but poor funding. So the efforts going on, even in the research institute, in the universities, are individual, staff efforts. Some foreign grants. Okay. And then when they give you foreign grant, you are going to be accountable to your sponsors. That's the irony. And that they will not sponsor you on what can be your own problem solver, what can add to their own curiosity that can be their own interest. But we need to be indigenous in our approach. Our National Research Foundation should be able to cover most of those areas. For example, if you go to Cocoa Research Institute in Ibadan, you will cry for Nigeria. They have the best cocoa flavor in the world, but nobody is talking about it. A country that does not have a single tree of cocoa is producing cocoa products and being sent back to us even on competitive basis.
Well,
can't we go ahead and do what we call value addition? Those technologies, we can import them and produce here and send to the rest of the world. And that is why the title of my university lecture is Decolonization of Food Security.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Because of time, we have to, so that we can take some of other questions. I believe that very soon we'll start doing that in the country, just like we are doing in the oil industry now. These two questions before I give you, because we begin to round up now. This one is from Omololu B.A. He said, the issue is that God bless you guys for wonderful works you're doing every day. The issue today is a serious one, and the reason all these terminal chronic diseases are rampant today. All I can say is that as much as you have the opportunity, grow what you eat by yourself and drink sufficient water to neutralize the effects of chemicals on those you are buying from outside. God help us all. That's Omololu. And this one is from this one is from Dr. Nasil Bello Gombe from Gombe. He said, good morning. Ripening chemicals can be very useful when applied correctly, just like you said, and in safe doses. The key is choosing the right compound for the fruit type and monitoring timing to avoid negative side effects. And lastly, this from Dr. Olaiton Akinwumi from Ado-Ekiti. He said, good morning, sirs. I'd like to urge that government should ban harmful food ripening chemicals to safeguard Nigerians' health. Let's prioritize safe food, support local farmers, and promote natural practices.
Right.
Now,
I have two. Let me take the last two because we are running out of time completely.
All right, go ahead.
Now, this one, no name. Okay, Saleh Sueba from Kotun Karfe says, let the farmers and the students be more informed so that the negative effects will be reduced. Okay, and this one reads, good morning, Nigeria. My name is Paul Osemobo, and I'm from Edo State. I really appreciate the discussion of today. I study in Federal College of Agriculture, Ishiagu, Ebonyi State. I will also add that the government needs to employ workers that will be going into villages to make sure they teach every farmer the effects and the damages which they cause to our health. Thank you, he says.
Prof. And let me start from that last contribution. The farmers are in danger as well in use of the agrochemical. Because the knowledge of you...
Prof, it has to be in
2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes.
The knowledge of what you call safe use of the agrochemical using safety procedure. The mask, the cloth, the farmers don't do that. They keep the chemicals at home, they keep inhaling it, and it becomes a danger to them as well. So they need assistance. And the best we can do as a nation is like what Prof has suggested. Let's have, as the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, emergency in food safety. Let's have food security. Let's have an emergency in food safety. If the President pronounced that, actors on the value chain of food can now join together to provide a sustainable solution.
All right, thank you, Prof. Professor Kuta, your final words?
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I will call on all media organizations to copy NTA, because NTA has done well for Nigeria in terms of, development engineering. Because what you are doing is development engineering. You are not bringing political discussions that will tear people apart and so on.
Thank you.
So I think development communication is an ingredient, and Nigerian Guild of Editors, they are going to meet in Abuja very soon, and all other actors in the Nigerian media must take a cue from the NTA so that we are patriotic and we promote what is good for Nigeria. The feedback I'm getting is what, I'm very happy about. So therefore, let me use on the final note to appreciate Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for all the giant strides in many areas of development, especially towards food security for Nigeria. And as Prof said, Mr. President can add additional food safety to it so that he will be the next he will be remembered forever
All right.
for saving Nigerians in this direction.
All right, Professor Mohammed Yahya Kuta, Professor of Agricultural Extension and Development Communication at the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Ibadan. We thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. Let me also thank Professor Akeem Abolade Oyenride, Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Abuja. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contributions. We earlier introduced Shehu Garkiado, who is a professor in genetics and plant breeding at Ahmadu Bello University. Unfortunately, poor connectivity robbed us of his contributions, but we appreciate you nonetheless for making the effort. And that's Good Morning Nigeria. We thank you for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow with another very, very informing topic. I am Victor Azu. I'll see you then.
And I'm Adim Aladio. Thanks for staying with us and have a blessed day.